Finals of the ESL Cup number 5 on the European server. Starting off in the top left-hand side of Ephemeron with the red Protoss player representing Ting. This is Neeb. And in the bottom right-hand side, the blue Terran player from Mass Sports has made the ESL Opens his home over the last few weeks. This is HeroMarine. Game 1 of this best of 5. Grand final. The winner, $100 and 10 EPT points, ESL Pro Tour points. The second place finisher, 5 ESL Pro Tour points as well. So you get something. I mean, ESL Pro Tour points are very important for seeding in events, and it may not seem like a lot, but it could make the difference in your seed going into the World Championships, etc. too. So there's a lot at play here. There is a lot at play. Just want to take a moment as well, because I'm probably going to upload this series onto YouTube, I think, because the best of 5 between Neeb and HeroMarine is probably going to be pretty good. Just want to say hello, my YouTube viewers. How you doing? Thanks so much for continuing to watch and supporting. And don't forget to comment. Let me know how you're liking the series. Let me know who you'd like to see more of. And keep hitting that subscribe button. Onwards and upwards. Our goal of 20,000 YouTube subs in 2020 is... 20k in 2020 is being a real success so far. So if you're enjoying, consider liking, subscribing, etc. Thank you so much. Even chat's saying hi to YouTube. That's YouTube. Twitch chat wants to be friends as well. Look, we're one big happily content creation family or something like that. Welcome guys. How you doing? As he set this up, a couple SCVs going in to fight the probe, and that was a... Actually, I have a couple shout. I just want to do one shout out quickly as well. Poacher D of the Twitch Prime sub 30 minutes ago. Thank you so much for that, Poacher D. I was actually so ready to shout you out at the end of that last series. I finally remembered, and then I got attacked by the fly. Thank you so much for that. And also Gross Vader with the... Or Gross Vada with the Twitch Prime sub just then as well. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Let's see what happens in our finals. We do see Nexus dropping down on the natural. And we do just see the command center dropping down too. So the early game is even scout heavy as well. SCV scout from HeroMarine, Neeb a probe scout. And that is something which we haven't seen HeroMarine do a lot of. Across the ESL Open Cups in the last few weeks, he's very much so been a player who stays away from SCV scouting. So seeing an SCV scout here early, absolutely a little bit interesting already. Gonna be a nice Reaper grenade to actually try and save the Reaper, but unfortunately it's gonna get caught there. As the Reaper really committed for information, and it finds nothing at all. Neeb not building an early tech structure, not that early at least. Going into the Sentry early game and then into the Robo facility. So this is a very similar opening to what Harstem did in that TVP against HeroMarine, where he wanted to go into the Sentry and then... Oh, was it Harstem? Was it the DNS game where he went Sentry into Stalker? But he went into Twilight Council and Blink, right? This is a Robo facility, so this is going to give Neeb the early information with the hallucination, so you'll have very good info early in the game. As this Adept shades up to the high ground, as the Adept comes through in towards the natural expansion. Just going to see our Warp Gate coming up here, going to be finishing in a moment or so. With that Robo coming through, no, it doesn't look to be like a super fast third base from Neeb. Probably just a Warp Prism early, right? Couple extra gates, get a Prism out, take a couple units across the map. Or you could just go Observers early as well, of course, and just really start stacking up that, you know, I always do this. I always think, is he going to go Prism? Is he going to go Immortal? You know, Observers are such a common choice. Get these Observers up early. It's a lot of investment, though. So Neeb's going to build 2 to 3 Observers overall. And he's going to put his Chrono onto this Robo facility as well. So he's really focused on getting Observers out, getting Vision up. He does go for the Hallucination as well, which comes across, gets full scouting info, so knows exactly what HeroMarine is building. Sees a tech lab reactorless starport and a tech lab factory, so he knows it's tanks alongside either Viking Liberator or Medevac, and now the Adept Shade might have just seen the Medevac. The 7 Marines load up to go across the map, and Robo Bay on the way down from Neeb. He's going to play this slow and steady, slowly teching up to Colossus. Will take a later third Nexus than what you're sometimes used to seeing in TVP, and just building that economy up nice and slowly here, as we do have the couple extra Stalkers coming through, the Immortal on the way out being Chrono Booster as well. And again, that Robo Bay is just about halfway along there. There's a few Marines going to be unloading from the Medevac in this top side, and that's going to be an instant kill on this probe on this top side as well. So able to pick off the probe as the Warp Prism makes its way to the bottom side. It's going to get in toward the main base in a moment or two and try to deal some damage. Didn't take anything with it initially, so we'll have to warp something in that main base. And what that may be is kind of the question is, Neeb just kind of flies it in there. Is visible. The Adept in the natural gets a couple of SCV kills. And the Medivac in the main does absolutely nothing at all. HeroMarine knows this Warp Prism is here. He's expecting units. He's already pulled the SCVs. but there's nothing done. This is the sickest Warp Prism ever. Neeb is so ready for this attack. He knows this attack is here. He doesn't warp in anything across the map. And HeroMarine's just hurting his own economy because nothing is actually coming into play. Now he sets those SCVs back and the Prism sets up to warp in, but doesn't actually warp in yet. I mean, Neeb is still chasing. He's got Stalkers chasing down slow Marines, right? I mean, those Marines can't escape. They're just going to keep taking damage. The only thing that's going to stop this is these tanks coming back in the medevac, getting sieged up. And they will be able to hold the line a little bit here. As across the map, what was it? They just killed a couple probes. The Vikings showing up, landing for a couple of probe kills. So a couple of probes do end up going down. But yeah, Neeb was so ready for this. Shield batteries just in case as he got into Colossus. That third Nexus was meant to be later from him anyways with the way he was building the Colossus and so on. And Neeb has done what you need to do when you play a robo opening like this. Investments into your early observers. He actually only went one observer. The early observer, early robo bay takes no damage apart from a couple of probes, and that's completely fine. Completely shuts down the attack. Again, exactly how you want to do this. As we do see the army making its way down the bottom. So Neeb pulling this down the bottom here and setting that up. We will see a couple of tanks. With a few Marines at the front as well. The third Nexus from Neeb on its way up. And just going to be seeing Neeb making the push around. He has high ground vision because of the Colossus. The siege tank there gets a shot off and will pull back. Knows it's in a bit of a precarious position. You'll see the Warp Prism in the natural expansion getting a couple extra kills with the Adept. So a little bit of damage. Nothing overly game-changing though. This is nice for me just sitting here and delaying the orbital though. I mean, before stimming combat shields, it's going to be tough because you're very reliant on the siege tanks. Obviously, the siege tanks aren't quite in position to defend the third just yet, so they have to move into position. And oh, Neeb sees this happening. What's Neeb's vision over there? He just has this observer, so he saw those tanks when sieged. It's a really nice observer little spot that he had it in there. Really gave him some good info. Just relocating this slightly, and Neeb obviously has the Prism, but he's not being able to reinforce Colossus or anything. Second Colossus just popped out. It is starting to run across the map, but it's got a long walk to go. I think I like the idea of what Neeb's doing. Just make a Prism play into the main base, try and get some worker kills and keep HeroMarine. No, HeroMarine who's trying to focus. Oh, he's actually going to go for this. So he's going to drop Zealots in the front to try and soak up the siege tank shots. Guardian Shields covering the army. Just too many tanks, I think, and Neeb's going to lose a lot of his army here. New Colossus shows up, but that was a very brave play. That was like a, oh yeah, I feel this right now. I've got this. Doesn't work out at all. Gets 9 SCVs in the mix, but yeah, just kind of went for it and lost kind of a lot. Comes out equal on workers, which is not ideal in a PvT. You'd like to be 5 to 10 ahead because they are working off the mules as well. And as we do see Storm on the way up, charge coming through. I really like this game for Neeb, but I do feel now it's gone into a position where as HeroMarine sieges up some tanks on the left-hand side, bio units from HeroMarine pulling back around. It feels like it's gone to that point where suddenly HeroMarine is way back in this because suddenly he's got stim and combat shields. He can be more active on the map himself. This is where HeroMarine loves to play this matchup. He loves to get aggressive. He loves to drop around. We saw it in some of the earlier games of this tournament as well. Why didn't Neeb just fly the Warp Prism over the Marines? He was dropping the Zealots to bait the siege tank shots onto single Zealots rather than the main army. Didn't do enough though, and then you lost the Warp Prism as well. Maybe you could have pulled it back a bit sooner. Like I said, the idea was cool and it was aggressive, but it didn't really work out, and it kind of left Neeb looking a little bit silly, right? If it worked, it's one of those moves where it's like, oh, that's so sick, it's so good. But yeah, the execution wasn't quite there. It didn't work, and lost just a little bit too much. Leaving us now with this position where HeroMarine is set up quite comfortably, right? I mean, tanks across the board. There's not really a way for Neeb to push into this again, especially a CC building here. Actually does a lot to choke this area up and keep these siege tanks that bit safer. We've got Viking production just started, so the Colossus are nowhere near as safe on their own as well. And Neeb has Storm, but being aggressive with Storm against tanks especially is hard because the tanks will zone those High Templar very easily. HeroMarine, he does move forwards. Excuse the cough. He does move forwards with the 4th base on the left-hand side. So he will have a 4th base ready to go. New Warp Prism of Neeb going to come across as he sees this army coming in. And he's ready to greet it. Neap trying to slow this down on the ramp. I mean, slow this down as much as possible by time before HeroMarine gets into an aggressive positioning there. A few Zels warping in, but I feel like you need more than just the 4. HeroMarine already has units left at home, and he is going to see Neeb warping 4 more in, so it's going to be 8 Zels total. That might be a better number. See what fight happens here. I mean, SCVs are pulled to help the bio units tank. Meanwhile, we've got a positioning war going on the top. We're looking on that. Well, that's how we're looking at it right now, because Vikings are making a play forward as they snipe down one of the Colossus. I mean, HeroMarine's trying to get position on top of the 4th base. Neeb's doing a lot to try and stop him, but again, it's costly. You know, you lose a Colossus already. He has got Disruptors, so he's going to recall the Prism home. It's a really interesting recall, because the Prism then just goes straight down. Vikings coming through. They're going to be able to shoot down the Colossus. Now they'll land. The Disruptor had a decent shot, but it wanders forward itself as well. That goes down too. Nice storm at the end here, hitting a few of these Marauders. The last couple of tanks are dropping down as well, and the reinforcing Zelds will play a cleanup. Unfortunately for Neeb, he loses so much of the tech units in this fight. He's left with an Archon, a Mortal, and a Disruptor, and really not the Zealot camp to really go fighting this, I don't feel. I mean, Neeb's going to force HeroMarine to split away. He actually is overwhelmed a little bit on the bottom side here, more so than I thought he would. So actually, Neeb's going to end up making this work, pushing HeroMarine back, and maybe HeroMarine shouldn't have fought. Maybe HeroMarine should have just continued home. Shouldn't have stopped off to try and pick up more damage. HeroMarine trying to switch into Liberators here. As he's gotten rid of the Colossus count, his play is, okay, I don't really need Vikings, so I'm going to actually go and kind of build Libs instead. Now, he might need Vikings again if Neeb builds back into Colossus, but if HeroMarine can get up a good amount of Liberators, you can actually get away without using Vikings at all against Colossus if your Lib count is good. Typically, that happens alongside Liberator range, and we don't see a Fusion Core yet, so I will be interested if HeroMarine decides just to go pure Liberator without the Fusion Core. He's also got Ghost, which help in this sort of scenario too, but again, typically in this scenario, Lib range becomes a very important upgrade as we have both the players going to 4 bases. At bottom left, Planetary Fortress now on the way in, with HeroMarine still just darting around the map. A few of these units underneath these medevacs, obviously looking to try and counterattack, find a way in. Units that are not very committed at all, because it's so easy to just lift up and leave. And we're playing a game where there's not been a lot of anti-air from Neeb. You know, there's not ever been like a really crazy Stalker count. As you do see a few of these units stim into the natural, they're going to find a couple high Templar, hits the EMP just in case. I like it. It's a safety play, but it absolutely makes sense. You know, why rely on Neeb not getting those storms off when you can hit the EMP and then guarantee your units surviving and do a lot of damage? The Zealot in the 3rd base will not do a lot, but the Stalkers coming across the map will. I mean, HeroMarine, I'm not sure if he was looking for a base trade in this scenario, but now he's in a bit of a weird spot because he only has, what, like 2 medevacs of units over here and all of his medevacs? So actually, he's not even in that kind of crazy position where it's like he has a lot to base trade with across the map. So, yeah, it's kind of a tough one as we're going to be seeing Neeb get a few SCVs. If he gets this base, this will be great for him. I don't see why he wouldn't go for it as Disruptor shot just to make sure the bio units don't come in after the Stalkers have used that blink. Or Prism trying to bring the High Templar into fight, and actually a Storm right now will be useful. He's going to get a bit surrounded here. That's what HeroMarine is setting up, bringing that drop back home, and Neeb knew about it, which is why he was trying to be a little bit cautious up until now. Another Storm drops. It looks like Neeb's army is going to go down to the 3rd base for the cost of absolutely everything. And maybe that's just too high of a price to pay, because HeroMarine will go counterattack straight across the map now. Stalker's trying to blink away, trying to escape up to the top, trying to keep out of range of the rest of this bio. Gonna be seeing the rest of these Stalkers continue to blink up to the top side. You're gonna see a couple High Templars coming in, a couple Disruptors as well. Archon morphing in. Stalker's still fighting, and again a couple of Libs right away. One thing that HeroMarine has done is hasn't done is keep his Liberators alive, so that's been an issue. And these Storms at the moment absolutely helping out. A couple of Vikings landing do great against the Stalkers, by the way. Disruptor shots from that far left side. High Templar's now out of energy, so out of Storms as Neeb goes blinking forwards. Medevac's pulling back. 8 probes going down in all of this, with HeroMarine obviously only on 3 bases against the 4, so over time Neeb will kind of draw himself back in the game if he survives that long. +3 attack just finished for HeroMarine, an extra upgrade that probably helps him a lot in this fight, but might not have been needed anyways because he was looking to be just that little bit too far ahead on the bio count. And yeah, he was losing the Libs, but in the end, Libs keep coming across, and in these low kind of efficiency, in these kind of low cost scenarios, low army cost scenarios, this is kind of, you know, Liberator's kind of shine, you know, time to shine, because the Stalker count just doesn't get up to the point where they're one-shotting libs. So the libs just consistently do a lot of damage. And that's GG. HeroMarine takes game 1 of this best of 5. HeroMarine able to take the lead in the series. He played some sloppy PvT earlier today in the semis and the quarters, but honestly, this was much just very on point from HeroMarine. I mean, a couple scary moments, but the flank setup on that army towards the third base, that was beautiful. And it was obviously his plan initially. It was a weird spot, right? Because again, he wasn't looking for a full-on base trade. He didn't have his majority of his army on the map. And he lost a couple of liberators. I was like, oh, am I going to do this? Yeah, able to set up that sick flank and able to make the most of it. Gives him game 1. Able to close this out. And again, take the lead in the best of 5. Game number 2. Here on Simulacrum. Starting in the top left-hand side from Ting. From the USA, our Red Protoss player Neeb. In the bottom right, our Blue Terran player HeroMarine from Mouse Sports from Germany. So, game 2 of the series, and kind of intrigued to see what changes a little bit, because Neap played a really good early game, right? I mean, absolutely put himself in a stellar position, good defense early, did everything he needed to do with his build. It was just that decision to commit for the third. I don't disagree with Neap either. I think committing for the third, in that position, I would have done the same. But maybe he could have done it a bit faster. And if he does it a little bit quicker and is more decisive, saying, okay, yeah, let's go for it. If he does that just that little bit sooner, what happens next is so important, because what happens after that is you're then able to say, okay, I pack away, and then that drop doesn't become a flank. That drop becomes a, oh, I actually have to be careful as HeroMarine, because otherwise he's going to target down my dropship. I'm going to lose it, and, you know, that's not going to be good, right? As we do see the Marine on the way up here from HeroMarine, so setting that up, we do see this probe coming out around the natural expansion. Both players will end up expanding here. So again, HeroMarine really showing some respect to Neeb and will continue to SCV scout. Again, one of the downfalls of HeroMarine in previous ESL Cups is absolutely being, I mean, I say downfalls, and you know, downfalls where they didn't even lose. I mean, maybe even WardiTV 2020 was a better example when you played Showtime in the round of 12. Those were matches where HeroMarine didn't SCV scout, and he really did get, like, punished quite heavily for it, quite frankly. He got punished for it real bad, as we do see the SCV and the probe coming out around the top side. Stargate setting up from Neeb up in the main base, and the factory finishing up soon. HeroMarine's build then, I mean, a lot of this depends on what you're able to figure out. There's SCV still on maps. He's going to proxy a starport early in the game. Now, a lot of this depends on what you're able to figure out, but proxying the starport, he's just going to go straight up in towards Hellions. There's the starport dropping down. He's looking for a Hellion drop to get ahead early in the game. So, a couple of Hellions will start. The probe over here from Neeb, don't think he saw the SCV or anything. If I don't think he wants to do anything too crazy either, right? I think he just wants to... It's kind of weird because it's a very long time for the probe to still be out on the map. And there's that Stargate finishing first. Oracle will begin. So Neeb into the Oracle. That will be very useful defensively against these Hellions if you know about it. The problem is, a lot of this for HeroMarine is trying to hide these Hellions, and if you can get them into the medevac without them being seen, and that Oracle goes across the map, you're immediately, as Neeb, just left somewhat defenseless back at home. And that obviously from the very beginning hurts quite a lot. So there's Hellions 3 and 4. So those are the 4 Hellions that'll jump in the medevac. 2 more Hellions behind this, because as the Hellions go into the main, you then want to try and stab in with the Hellions in the natural. If the defenses from the natural get pulled apart or pulled away, then the defenses in the main, and the defense in the main gets strengthened. Then the Hellions in the natural can actually get some kills as well. Really good vision of Neeb's main base. He has a pylon, he has the Adept. So he will not let these Adepts kind of unload and then run in all at once without it being known about. I see what Neeb's crisis management looks like here is the Oracle is coming back. So actually the Oracle is here to pick away at these Hellions. 4 probes. Gonna get a couple more still and actually force the lift up. Here come the 2 Hellions. into the natural. So this is what we're talking about, where there's just nothing in the natural expansion to deal with extra Hellions. Now HeroMarine is going to get a lot of kills. I mean, that's 7. He's going to go up to 9. And he sees the stack, and he knows this stack is very juicy, full of very low HP probes. Gets 10 overall, and he's back in the main base. Again, Oracle out of energy. New Oracle will have to activate its energy. And of course, one of the big benefits of forcing the Oracles to defend is that the Oracles are obviously then going to be in a position where they cannot be aggressive. So then you don't take any damage from Oracles either. As the Liberator coming in now, this Phoenix should be able to tag the Liberator up pretty quickly. We've also got a Widowmine drop set up. I love the Widowmines walking into the middle, because the Widowmines walking into the center means the medevac can just lift them up instantly. However, the counterattack is going to be the issue, because there's no units over here at home for HeroMarine. And the thing is as well, Neeb's going to be able to deal with this Liberator. The Widowmine drop is going to get a lot of probes. Oh, wow. He's going to get 13 workers. Well, that's pretty crazy, as we do see the Stalkers here, though. Again, there's going to be no defense here, right? So what do you actually defend with right now? You've killed a lot of workers. Neeb's down by about 20, and you literally have to fight with SCVs of your own to survive. It's a bit tough for HeroMarine. You actually can't bring the SCVs in the main and wall off, because if he does that, the Stalkers and Adepts are going to get there as well. He's going to shade by. There's going to be a single Widowmine. Can he target that Widowmine in time? He doesn't get the target. It's going to be a splash damage onto a Stalker. Another Stalker goes down because of it. Widowmine's actually coming back home. Instead of staying across the map aggressively, they're going to come home to defend. But yeah, this is just too many SCVs dropping. HeroMarine has lost all of his advantage in the early stages, as we now see, Adepts are going to give themselves up for the Widowmines. He actually doesn't get this Widowmine set off, which means the Stalkers can't target it despite it being very low HP. Widowmines at the front here as well went off. Not sure when that happened. I mean, we've been following this action in the natural. There you go. The Stalker's able to pick off a medevac here. Medevac snipe's great. As these Widowmines come off cooldown, there's no detection here from Neeb unless he brings the Oracles back into play. That would actually be a huge play right now. Revelation on these Widowmines, so you can actually just get the kills. Right now, they're still on cooldown. As the Revelation, that's absolutely what you want to do, because again, it's just going to guarantee you a few Widowmine kills. But there's stim packs, so HeroMarine stims fours these Stalkers. Well, that'll be the end of them. But there's no units to defend the main base as the Oracles come in. So more SCVs going down. 5, 6 workers, 7. So much damage here as Neeb has just ripped HeroMarine apart. I mean, it just all started because this is a very aggressive build from HeroMarine. It's not just the first Hellions, it's the second set of Hellions, and then a Widowmine drop as well. It's all units which aren't back at home defending. So he has no defensive units, and while he did so much damage, did it really matter in the end? Fire from HeroMarine setting up on the right side. You're going to see the Oracles trying to come in. Twilight Council Forge saying, a couple more Marines going to stim and pick away at those Oracles. Again, +1 attack. Combat shields coming through, pulling back up. Getting some upgrades going as these Oracles pull back up the right side. Yeah, I mean, it puts the game into a really weird state. When Neeb starts to get that momentum with the Oracle still alive, you can get a bunch more as well. I mean, whenever you're resetting your opponent's unit count to like 0 very frequently, and you have a couple different sets of units to utilize, it generally looks very good for you. And that's exactly what we saw happen here. As we have got the Oracles try and make their way back in towards this natural expansion. Just going to drop the Revelation. Oh my god, during all of this, there's been a probe in the main? No. No. Oh. Neeb is gonna be able to shut this drop down as well, which doesn't really do that much. The probe in the main, I'm just waiting for it to come into play. And it's gonna be very frustrating. This Phoenix is gonna chase down medevacs. There's some Marines to at least hunt down the Phoenix. I'm just waiting for him, man. I mean, HeroMarine is coming across the map, and maybe he's just going to win the game anyways because he just has so much army left over. That's something I've not really talked about from Neeb's point of view, right? That Neeb just actually lost a lot of his own army and his own aggression. There we go, HeroMarine counterattacks to win the game. Underwhelming casting. You can kind of see it, though. Neeb is constantly using his units, I guess, to kill off economy. And then HeroMarine just gets stim up. He cleans out a lot. And that production of 3 racks, etc., isn't really matched from Neeb at all. He has 3 gates. Very interesting game altogether. You can see HeroMarine had an economy advantage for a good while. And maybe it was just stabilizing to get that into play. I actually didn't expect Neep to lose this so quickly. He has this army came across. I thought he was going to do a little bit better. So yeah, there you go. HeroMarine. Top bottom left hand side, we do have the red Protoss player down 0-2. Neeb really made that last game crazy. Just want to reiterate, like, I really thought Neeb just had more at home, and so I really didn't see the game ending. I thought the game would go on a little bit, but yeah, HeroMarine, Blue Terran top right of this game, really was able to just get enough up to then punish Neeb for not having the tech along the way there. So nicely done, and yeah, very, very nicely done across the board. And as we set this up, Game 3, and HeroMarine looking to try and win, what, his 4th ESL Open Cup? This guy's going to qualify to the World Championships literally off the back of ESL Open Cup victories. Like, it's kind of insane. It's kind of insane. Again, I was just saying this earlier as well in the broadcast, but not in this series. But Neeb hasn't played in any of these ESL Open Cups until now. This is the first one he's played. This is the first official matches he's played since IEM qualifiers, and it's kind of an interesting point because he didn't want to play in WardiTV 2020. He wanted to prepare for Katowice, and this week he decided to stream a little bit. He decided to play in this tournament. So it's been kind of an interesting couple of days from Neeb, who's kind of like, you know what, I'll show my stuff a little bit. I'll strut around and show everyone what I can do. Yeah, very interesting stuff. And as you do see, the CC from here, we're going to build high ground. So this is a very meta thing, where what you do, so this is a very meta kind of decision from HeroMarine, because Zen has become a map where there's been a double stalker opening where you actually commit a shield battery into your main base to be able to send your first units as stalkers straight across the map and not leaving anything behind to deal with the Reaper, because the shield battery just protects everything. So for that, you actually just build the gateway down here, you chrono boost the stalkers. They get across the map so quickly because this is the shortest rush distance map in the map pool right now. It does a lot of damage, and that's why HeroMarine will expand high ground this game rather than going for the typical low ground expansion. He doesn't SCV scout, he Reaper scouts, and you'll see now, okay, there's actually no need for me to expand high ground, but that's something you can't know early. And he just doesn't want to take the risk. He'd rather just kind of play this out safely. You know, high ground expansions is not a fun thing to do as a Terran player. It's generally very expensive. He loses this Reaper too, so Reaper goes down early on. Did not see the sorry, he did see the Stargate over to the side, so he does at least see the Stargate. So he got the scout, just he didn't get away. That's probably why he committed for the probe. But yeah, really kind of just cool, kind of seeing these guys kind of realizing the meta, and it was Parting that started doing this build in IEM qualifiers, and it's kind of like back to way, like a lot of Protoss players picked it up, and now because Terrans keep doing this on Zen, this high ground expand, they're just like, yeah, sure, well, Protoss players just stopped doing that double stalker build opening, so maybe in a week or two we start seeing Terrans expanding low ground again, and then maybe the double stalker comes back once more. You know, there's a couple different ways it can go. As you see, the 2 gateways from Neeb setting up in the main base as well. It's going to be 3 gates alongside the Oracle, but because of the early scout, HeroMarine has perfect information to set up into the Cyclone, into the Viking, and this is the best possible setup he could have against the Stargate opener. So HeroMarine setting up nicely into the Stargate opening here, and is going to be able to, you know, look at this and basically say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be able to pretty much just shut this down. I mean, Oracle is going to fly in, and the Viking's not ready, but you see this setup as Neeb, and you're like, yep, not going to risk it. I'm going to fly in, I'm going to take some down to Marines, I'm probably going to kill 2 Marines, and that's basically it. He actually runs into a Cyclone here as well, so actually, he's ready for the Cyclone, but it was actually on the map. He gets intercepted, and he does get away. Looks like he'll stay away, so keeps that Oracle alive, if only just. A nice save, as we do see Siege Tank finishing. Viking going to be coming through. Finishing in a moment or so. Phoenix up on the Stargate, and we do see a couple of gates morphing into warp gates as well. And those shield batteries still coming up, as we do see our Phoenix still in production as well. Oracle from Neap back on the map. So the Phoenix production going to go into a few of those, and so probably the idea here from Neap that he wants to go into a set of Phoenix, probably follow up into Colossus as well, is generally a pretty typical way of doing that. But yeah, he's going to be up against some pressure here early. Now the Phoenix are pretty good against like a Phoenix Viking push, Just because obviously the Viking gets hit down pretty quickly by Phoenix. The Cyclones can have their lock-ons cancelled by Phoenix, so you take a lot of the damage out of the way. And if the Adepts to back this up as well, Neeb should be able to take a fight here, where I think they're going to be able to just jump in. I mean, they should do very well, I think. This amount of Adepts. He's already shading forwards. He's looking to take this fight ASAP. He actually wants to go chase this army, perhaps. He sees with the Revelation a lot of these units moving around. And in the end, he's just going to back away. So he doesn't jump on it if he doesn't need to. He's got +1 stun. He's got his Twilight Council coming up. So he can just sort of tech from here as well. As you do see the rest of these Marines pulling back towards the natural expansion. Still a couple of Vikings up in the sky. Siege Tank, Cyclone. All that good stuff, as we do see a Sentry from Neeb coming up as well on the third base. And Charge starting, and he is on 4 gases, so you will look to tech beyond these gateway owner units fairly soon. And there's already the Robo facility dropping down. If this was just going to be like masses of Zealots and Stalkers, then you probably see this just on 3 gases early. As you see, SCV gets picked off here into the main base. A couple of Vikings already firing, and do have the Phoenix taking a bit of damage already as well. They end up pulling away down the right-hand side. Neat positioning, as we do see a few of these Adepts going to go shading forwards and going to head in towards, well, this natural expansion. Obviously, too many units there to realistically commit for. At some point, you're going to do something with these Adepts. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a fairly early Warp Prism just to go take these Adepts somewhere, because you're in a position in this game where Adepts don't have a role to play anymore. And they're not going to be part of a bigger fight in any sort of substantial way. So Warp Prism could absolutely take 3 Adepts into the main base and then hit 3 Adepts in the third base same time. A little bit of multi-prong just to make use of those early units you used to make sure you could defend. But now you need to find a different use for them. It's actually going to be an Immortal right away and a Robo base, second facility. So it's just going to keep building units. Again, I'm just trying to think what you do with these Adepts for now. Just going to keep vision with them and keep pressing forwards. But again, at some stage, you have to imagine that those Adepts want to be used for... I think those Adepts want to be used for a, you know, for some harassment or so, rather than like being kept in the straight-up army fight. And again, for me, the best way to do that is via a Warp Prism, but we shall see. There's Phoenix in the main, flying around and having a skirmish with some Vikings. There's the Adepts once again get shaded. This might be the commitment. There's nothing here right away. And he still doesn't go for it. So you will just keep the Adepts around. Temple Archives from Neeb now in the main base. I mean, it's never a bad thing to have a few extra units in the army. It's just, again, what do these Adepts really add? Like, you know, they don't even, you know, they're not even that great a tank unit compared to the Zealots. I guess if you don't see a good opportunity to use them, though, then, you know, why waste them? Gravitic Drive on the way up. So that Warp Prism speed will get going. A couple of extra Disruptors popping out, +1 armor on the Forge. Temple Archives coming up as well. That's about to be finished as we do see extra Ghosts being built up, enhanced Shockwaves. Getting ready to go, Marines. Still coming out the left. Again, those gates in the main. Just getting set up too. Zealots come in, picking off a Marine, and look at a little bit of this Bio Force coming across. Another Zealot gets picked off. Two Disruptors and 2 Archons out over on this left-hand side. So HeroMarine's in this stage where he's on 3 bases, he's getting his Ghosts up, he's got Enhanced Shockwaves about to finish, he's already building Libs. He wants to try and start fighting. He feels like he doesn't really need too many Vikings. He hasn't seen Colossus, right? So I called Colossus early, it was not, it was straight to Disruptors. So he doesn't go into Vikings, he just goes into Liberators to zone that out, so it's a good read from HeroMarine, realizing that early. Loads up a few Widow Mines here, hasn't done much with it, as the Warp Prism into the main will take some Zealots forwards. 5 SCVs already going down. Now the Disruptor shot to go. I feel like that one could have traveled a bit further forwards. Ron on the right side at least gets a Ghost. Zealots in the third base as well, and HeroMarine's not doing well against this Warp Prism play. The Zealots in the main, he shuts down the Prism in the main, but the Zealots in the third, 0 response here at all. Not even SCVs pulling away. That's a major issue. At the same time, Neeb wants to save his own 4th base, so he's going to go fight this right now. The Widow Mines come back out from the Medivacs here. They kind of go blowing some stuff up. He does kill a Siege Tank. HeroMarine spreads out. He's collapsing on this army. 95 to 41 army supply. Another disruptor shot to get a kill. Remember that if HeroMarine cleans up this army, this game and this tournament is his. Another disruptor shot saving the day for the moment from Neeb. But, I mean, HeroMarine smells blood in the water. He's not even going for the fourth base. He's just charging forwards. Widow mines to soften up the zealous disruptor shots, forcing him to split backwards again into this concave, which is starting to overwhelm a little bit. He's chasing forwards. He's trying to target down the disruptors. The Phoenix are flying now around, getting dropped from the sky. As we see some extra zealots warping in once more, but these disruptors are still picking up kills. And HeroMarine supply is dropping heavily now as well. Needs sat steady at about 30 to 40 army supply, but HeroMarine's come all the way down from 90 to 55 and still dropping here as the disruptor shots will keep HeroMarine back. And at the end of the day, Neap still has the fourth base alive. For how much longer, I don't know, because this Bioforce will rotate around and try and kill it. But for the moment, I mean, Neeb's even re-expanding to a fourth base down here, so he probably just gives this one up, keeps the probes alive, and just says, yeah, I don't need to fight this. Maybe a disruptor shot or two, but no commitment from me. I've got a base on this bottom side instead, so he's still a base ahead coming out of this. And Neeb survives a very dangerous attack. A very dangerous attack is now back around into the center here. Marine going to move into the middle. Some extra bio units pulling back a little bit as well. Wow, nice hold from Neeb. I mean, again, is about to lose the tournament. He just finds a way to hang on in there. Remember, he did kill a lot of SCVs before this fight too, so as far as Neeb is concerned, his economy is doing great in comparison to HeroMarine's, considering he's able to keep a fourth base up. So Neeb just about surviving, as we do see this army coming back around. And HeroMarine's backed away. He doesn't know about this base right here, so missing out on that information is obviously a little bit costly. Marauder shot onto an Archon. Disruptor fires. Oh, don't try and blow the tree up, Neeb. There's no need for that. Just a tree. What did it do to you? Another disruptor shot, which again keeps the bio units at bay. And we do see two medevacs loading up. They're going to come out over this left-hand side. Bit more bio all the way to the left, and we do see a Nexus, a pylon setting up as well. Probe's going to get picked off, and Nexus is going to cancel. His pylon going to get picked off also. And similarly, going to be targeted down too, as the army of Neap still pushing up the right-hand side. Looking to fight this a little bit. A couple of these Marines going down. We do see the Stalkers and the Archons. Hit by a big EMP, actually. Not really able to find much going up this ramp. I mean, tank fire, Liberator Zone, it gives you so little space to work with here. Again, HeroMarine on the left side, he doesn't have vision of this space. You've got to expect it, though, at this point, right? He can't just be assuming, yeah, he's already rallied the Liberator into this space, so he does know about it. He's just not seen it directly. I mean, there's no way that Neeb's not working on that base there, so HeroMarine's going to be able to, well, siege up the Lib, but then not do any damage. Phoenix gets the kill. And now he's going to use that mostly as a distraction to come around into this right-hand side. Lib's already setting up here, and well, Neeb's just going to jump the gun on it. He's just going to go for this. Going to go straight to the Liberators. Disruptor's taking a lot of damage. This Disruptor does not connect on the two Ghosts it was lined up to get on the bottom side. Colossus coming in, but this siege tank count, Colossus can be target fired down very quickly. Phoenix actually lifts up a siege tank, which makes the Disruptor shot miss. But that Disruptor shot reigns true in the top, hits both the tanks, and HeroMarine's army gets cleaned up, so Neeb will hold the fourth base. So he holds with the base ahead. Now he loses all of his Disruptors as he's rebuilding Colossus. But is it just enough anyways? Extra Stalkers coming into play. They do have Blink. These siege tanks that are reinforcing one at a time is very expensive, and HeroMarine types out GG to give Neeb a game 3 of this best of 5. And finally, Neeb is going to get on the scoreboard. Neeb will not fall without winning a map, which I think is kind of expected, right? I don't think anyone expects Neeb to go in 3. That would be an insane result for HeroMarine. Neeb makes it work, but man, at points it felt like he was on the verge of dying, but able to keep it alive, able to keep it going, and our boy Neeb will take us to a game number 4. In the bottom left-hand side, ending that game with the upgrade advantage, army advantage, pretty much all the advantages. We do have our red Riddles player from Ting. It is Neeb. And in the top right-hand side, our blue Terran player from Mass Sports is HeroMarine. We got Movement in the chat, our sponsors. Guys, go give Movement some love. Dropping the 20 gifted subs. Thank you so much. We'll shout those out properly after the game. Guys, if you've not checked out Movement, they're our stream sponsor. They're beautiful. I've been wearing their watch all weekend when I was away in London. They sent me a new one. It looks cool. It's coming out soon. I'm going to show it off on stream. It's really awesome. And thank you so much for the 20 gifted subs. Do check them out, guys. exclamation mark movement in the chat. I'm sure one of the mods is probably, yeah, slowly is already on top of it. She's already spammed the exclamation mark movement. Thank you so much for 20 gifted subs. Yeah, check them out. They're really awesome to us. One of the best stream sponsors we've ever had. I'm really excited to keep doing more of them. And like I said, we've got some really cool new products to show you guys as well that are coming out in the near future. Have those tomorrow. Got some sunglasses to show you guys actually, which are going to be cool. I've been strutting around in them. Not that we really get to use sunglasses much in England, but you know, I'm just trying to get my swag on, you know. Thank you again so much, movement. Exclamation mark movement in the chat, guys. You get 15% discount. They do accessories, they do watches, they do jewelry, they do glasses and sunglasses. 15% discount and every purchase supports the stream. I'll be the coolest in the room. Doesn't matter that there's no one else in the room, but I will be the coolest in the room. I'll also be like, guys, can we turn the lights on? And everyone's like, mate, lights are on. It's, you know, it's raining thunderstorms outside. AKA, nice day here in England. And you still got sunglasses. I'm like, well, yeah, I gotta look good, you know? Gotta look good. Gotta represent. Wow, that stuff actually looks nice, says Wakato. Of course it does. You think Wardy partners up with people who make bad stuff? Nuh-uh. This game, guys, 2.5 minutes in. Thank you so much again, movement, one last time. Filling up our early game. You already see a bit of a difference here from HeroMarine. A pretty early second barracks after factory, so it's not like a straight up 2-1-1, but it's still going to be a pretty fast stim pack, all said and done. As we do see this Reaper coming back around into the center of the map, the Stargate building up from Neeb over in the main base. Getting that rolling, and the Adept again just kind of hanging at the front here. Just going to be sending the Adept forward, so shading that through, and the Reaper on the right-hand side looking to make a play in towards the main. Adept deals some damage. Reaper takes some hits. Oracle being chrono boosted out from the Stargate. There's the Adept coming through to again get another shot, and Reaper taking some more damage. And again, Oracle is going to be finishing up from Neeb in the main base in a moment or two. Again, a couple of extra gates dropping down in the natural expansion. We do see the Reaper heading in the bottom side. And the Adept just hanging up on the top, just seeing what's up, sees the Widow Mine. It's going to be in trouble, so he recalls it back home to keep it up and running, which is awesome. Again, this Oracle from Neeb just poking out the front to try and see what is going on. Yeah, pretty passive though, the Oracle. Just Neeb not quite sure what is coming his way. Is going to send it across the map now. It's kind of past any sort of Hellion timing that he might need it to defend or something like that. As you do see the... Oh, getting picked off. It's a nice kill by the Reaper. The triple Adept shade. Well, one shot though. As the Oracle showing up, there's enough Marines to defend this eventually. Couple kills. Should be 3 at least. I mean, obviously this SCV got very low, but he gets the 3 anyway. And then is able to back away. And just the Forge and the Twilight is the full up. So at this point, Neeb says, okay, hey, you know, I get a little bit of damage in the early game. You're not doing much. I mean, again, typically as HeroMarine, you can't get aggressive coming across the map. Because you don't have like the 1-1-1 set, which allows you to come across the map. So your push across the map is later, but it comes in more of a bio focus with stim. This barracks probably goes to this tech lab. Oh, interesting. He doesn't even go reactor for that. He doesn't even keep the stop on the reactor for the medevacs. He's going to keep building tanks, and he's going to put this barracks on the reactor over here, and he's going to go for a later push with very heavy marine count, and he's going to go combat shields off the same tech lab as Sim, and then +1 as well, I imagine, is already on the way. Yeah, so he's going to go combat shields after Stim, and it's just going to be very marine heavy. Not many marauders in this bio opener at all. As you do see, the Oracle's coming up in towards the natural expansion. Gonna be able to pick away at a couple of these SCVs already. Gets 1, gets 2. A couple of those already going down as we do see the Temple Archives in the main base. Again, that Temple Archives up and running. Oracle's coming back along. back through into the center. Combat shields +1 attack, and we do see the concussive shells. All of this setting up for the moment. Quick question from the chat. What's a 111? A 111 is a barracks, a factory, and a starport. So a 111 opening is a very common opening in TV. Anything. One racks into the factory, into the starport. It's just instead of this wasn't a 111 though. It was 2 racks, factory, starport. So it was a bit different. And basically, if you don't go 111, you're basically delaying the starport. Because you usually get an early factory anyways, unless you go like 3 racks opening or something along those lines. Nice stasis ward there from Neeb. Catches all of the Marines. Talk about buying you some time ahead of a very, very crisp timing from HeroMarine. Like, he's about to hit with +1. Combat shield's not too far off. Now, it is going to be delayed that little bit, and Neeb's going to have that little bit more time to prepare. +1 armor probably finishes up in this delay. As you do see these being the Oracles just going in after some of these reinforcements as well. You see the fight breaking out as Neeb actually sets up a couple hallucinated Archons. He's on top of the tanks very quickly, so the tanks go down right away. Going to see a Viking get picked off, the rest of the bio coming through, and again the Zealot, the Adepts pulling back. I mean, you got to be careful taking fights like this as Neeb. As SCV's arriving, that's the moment where you just say, nope, no way do I continue to fight this. You know, this is a big 2-base commitment here from HeroMarine. There's no 3rd base. No need to take the fight out in the center when I can pull back home and at the very least have a shield battery to help, although more shield batteries would not be amiss here. Second Archon will be really nice in this, help to get rid of those SCVs really quickly. The faster you get rid of these SCVs, the easier your life is going to be, as it's just going to be the bio behind that. The probes are going to pull in. They're going to now try and tank for the Archons. Just let them do some extra damage. This Archon's off having a party of its own to the left-hand side, unfortunately. So Neeb missing out on that one for a little while. He'll pull some more probes, and he can still afford to do that. Targeting down a bunch of these Widow Mines is nice as well, although he is going to take a couple of shots, although one of them missed the Archons, which is actually a saving grace for Neeb, because actually the Archons are so important in this, and losing them to Widow Mines would have been a disaster. HeroMarine's SCV pull does not work out, and as he continues down the bottom side of the map, we're going to see an Adept getting picked off, the Archon still coming through. Just going to see this army from HeroMarine continue to back away over the right-hand side. Still some Zealots charging forwards. Those Widow Mines, there goes 1, there goes 2. That's amazing pickoffs as well, because you're kind of relying on that Widow Mine splash damage to then allow the bio units to come in there and continue on forwards and to get some extra damage done. GG's. Neeb ties it up to Neeb ties it up in game 4 to take us to a game 5. Let's see what happens there. The bottom right hand side, the red Protoss base of Neeb, and the top left, our blue Terran. It is from Mouse Sports HeroMarine. Alavir in the chat. Damn, I came in so late. Can he just start the whole tournament over? Well, you know, that's what the VODs are for. If there's games that you want to have a look at, the VODs are your best friend. Check them out. But not yet. You know, we're not done yet. Like I said, we've got more live StarCraft coming up. I mean, still replays, but more live casting coming up as well. Alright, game 5. Sorry for a little bit of lack of analysis in the last game. A little bit of the movement shout out knocked me off my stride and trying to be very analytical. People called me out in our StarCraft yesterday for not being analytical enough and for narrating the game too much. So I'm committing to proving them wrong and trying to be less play-by-play today. Try and talk about the games as much as possible, the analytical choices, the bits and pieces. Game 5, HeroMarine was down 0-2. Remember, in week 1, he was actually 2-0 down against Showtime, and he performed a reverse sweep. Maybe about to have the same done to him here. As we do just see. The probe being chased around, and just going to be seeing the Nexus dropping in on the natural expansion. So, again, the Nexus down. Really nothing crazy. It is Cybercore after Nexus as well, so... yeah, the only thing here from HeroMarine, he doesn't SCV scout, so he's back to being that little bit greedier. But by sending the SCV scout out in the early games, it doesn't give Neeb that idea of, oh, I can do something to abuse a no SCV scout, because when you SCV scout in the early games, Neeb in his head is like, wait, well, if he's SCV scout, I can't do anything to take advantage of that. So then you can cut the SCV scout more safely in the later games, which is kind of what we've been seeing. As you do see the Reaper making its way down the bottom right-hand side to obviously scout and try and pick up the information as to what Neeb wants to go for in the early stages. So Reaper moves around, see the Adept popping out, sentry on its way. We do see that Nexus about to finish up on the natural and starting to chrono boost out a few of these probes. So already some probes being chrono boosted here. Robotics facility from Neeb in the main base as well, giving him that initial setup. As the Reaper hops up, dealing some damage, a couple of shots, and we'll end up dropping this back down. HeroMarine back up the right-hand side, again up to the top. Just going to be seeing the Robo coming in from Neap. So very safe opening, really just looking to stay safe and defensive early. There's a couple builds where the Robo can be used aggressively, but typically it's about getting your observers up. You can, build an immortal if you're in need of it. And the opening here from HeroMarine is going to be focused around a Cyclone. So actually, the opening from HeroMarine really lends itself towards Neeb getting in towards an immortal and maybe a Prism. And especially a Prism to help, cancel those Cyclone lock-ons. But of course, a lot of that comes down from information initially, which is what we're kind of looking at initially here as well, as we do see the hallucinated Phoenix out up to the top side. Hey, sorry, I just want to quickly mention Foxcatcher USA gifted us up to Verbox for 3 months as well. Thank you so much, Foxcatcher, dude. Sorry, I've just been terrible at shouting out subs lately, and I just keep realizing I've missed some at points. I'm just like, God damn it, and I hate myself for doing it, but like, ugh. Don't want to let it go too long. Thank you so much for that gift. I appreciate it. As you do see the War Prism on its way up from Neeb in the main base, the Robo Bay building as well, and the Observer moving out into the center. Engineering Bay is about to finish up from HeroMarine. So, the stem pack's done. It was a pretty fast move into the second rack. It was just a Cyclone Viking straight into the setup for 3 racks in. This starport should probably move off this tech lab for this rack, so it's a bit different to last game as well. Last game where we saw the double reactor single tech lab, this game's going to be double tech lab reactor on the barracks, some more marauder production. You'll just go straight into reactor starport, reactor factory, and first medevacs will be up early. It's a nice scan to pick off the Observer, by the way. 75 gas on Neeb, just wasting a lot of robo build time. It did get information, but again, you kind of pay for that information quite a lot. I mean, gas is an expensive resource. He did build a second Observer this game, so he does have this one moving out as he's made his way in towards the Robo Bay. And the extended thermal lance already starting with the first Colossus. As these first few Stalkers take some map control, pushing forwards Neeb, trying to see a little bit of what's going on. Sees a Cyclone, and he has the high ground vision, or the high ground position he can move back up to deny the lock-on. He has the Prism out as well, not doing much with it just yet. The Viking is cruising, looking for something to pick off. Maybe even just trying to get across to the main base to try and get a probe or two. That's probably his destination. Meanwhile, the Hallucination just trying to pick up more info from Neeb. He's kept his Observer kind of back at home, just watching out for move outs and moves forwards, just so he knows where to move his units and, preparation to defend the third base if necessary. So yeah, Neeb just using a bunch of different units to basically pick up map control and pick up info as to what's going on here. And a few SCVs will pull with this first bio push. I mean, the medevacs are going to intercept and, not intercept, but like join up with this on the way across the map. So if HeroMarine wants to keep pushing, he will have the medevacs there to help that. He will have +1 combat shields. It's the alignment of all of those early game upgrades that HeroMarine now wants to try and take advantage of. And you can see the Stalker's position to hold the watchtower, sees the attack coming. So again, just gets good early game preparation against that. As that's going to be 4 probes in the main base, but now the Vikings down, the Stalkers can probably focus on defending the front. As Colossus number 2 is already out, extended thermal lance is going to be here. HeroMarine no third base yet, and the longer he doesn't start that, the more you got to worry a little bit for him as the Widowmine's burrow. But with the Observer, is the Observer near enough? It's not. It sets off one of those Widowmines. The other isn't really in that scary of a position. Obviously, without the blink opening, you don't have a way to really properly chase those medevacs. So you lose 6 probes here. Most of that was through the Viking damage. Yeah, I mean, 6 probes isn't bad. As HeroMarine backs away, you've just got to remember this is a very late third base for him. 6:45 starting up, and Neeb is just probing that third Nexus already. It's been down a couple minutes now. Playing off of these 4 gases, and just going to see this big medevac army, all 4 of those coming back around into the center. So now HeroMarine is going to try and switch up a bit. He's going to try and go for a drop. And Neeb's lack of map control, because he's being pushed back, is obviously going to hurt him defending this. Because now HeroMarine, it's a good way to do it. You take advantage, you push across, you take away a lot of the map control, you take away the watchtower. You basically clear the way for this drop to then be very successful. as he scans ahead just to double check, and he sees some units, but nothing he doesn't think he can fight with 4 Medivac units, although a lot of those are Widow Mines. Neeb is just going to recall to try and protect this. First Widow Mines going off. Here comes everything else showing up. Widow Mines continue to go off. I mean, that was 2 Medivacs of units for, well, for what? I think like a Stalker or 2. Resources lost is still even across the board as the Zealot picks off the SCV on the 3rd base. Now some Zealots on the natural expansion. Vikings show up to chase the Warp Prism away. And again, slow response pulling SCVs at all here. So 10 workers already killed, and now Neeb's pushing onto the map. Killing pros, moving into the middle. Setting up his Disruptors behind this as well, ready for the next stage of the game, adding his next wave of splash damage. He's got 2 Colossus, which he feels is all he needs at the moment. And didn't even start to build up a 3rd. 2 Colossus will perhaps get the job done. As we do see the rest of this army from Neeb coming back down the bottom. Some extra Zealots will warp in. I don't think Neeb ever wants to commit to a fight here again when you've just killed those SCVs, etc. Why force a fight when a minute or 2 from now your opponent's going to be reeling from the economic losses? As the Ghost Academy finishes, one thing HeroMarine is not doing is really rebuilding SCVs at all. He started up Bio, he started up Vikings, he started up Ghosts, and not a single SCV. So HeroMarine's going all in. He's going to pull the SCVs most likely when he gets these Ghosts out. He's going to go for the 3 Ghost push. He does not have enhanced Shockwaves, so he's going to have to absolutely nail the EMPs. Like, these EMPs are going to have to be absolutely perfect. And it's even then, it might not be enough because Neeb's just been sitting on 20-ish more workers now for a pretty serious amount of time. And that's obviously really, really adding up. I mean, Neeb takes the 4th base. Still no SCV production. We are waiting for HeroMarine to deliver the final fight of this series, perhaps. Because here he goes. Bio starting to move down the left-hand side into the center. Are the SCVs going to come, or are they going to chill at home? Looks like the SCVs aren't going to come along with this. So it's not an SCV pull. The Zealots will maybe make him wish it was an SCV pull. They're going to hit this 3rd base, and they're going to hit it hard in a moment or 2. Neeb already sees this army coming forwards with the Observer, so he sees this coming in. He can set up the Disruptor shot, which will not be target fired, in a big connection initially, hitting a lot of Marauders especially. Vikings chase, and they will kill one of the 2 Colossus. As the next Disruptor goes off again, doesn't hit on much. Zealots across the map cleaning out that 3rd base mineral line. There's a couple of the EMPs already being used, but it's not really enough, right? I mean, hits one last one at the end here. I mean, Neeb's just chasing because he can. He doesn't have to. He'll pull back and he'll play it safe. Zealots in the main base are pretty much forcing HeroMarine. I mean, HeroMarine was all in. He's now going to be even more all in. Again, as far as Neeb's concerned, these Disruptors will continue to do their job, and we'll just, again, slowly kind of fight this. Just got to be a bit careful with the Liberators, maybe. Make sure you've got the Stalker count to fight that, especially because you're playing... you know, you didn't play like a Stalker count opening, so your Stalker count wasn't quite crazy high initially. Here you go. Neeb coming in from the right-hand side. He's killed the 3rd base across the map, or at least forced it back up into the main. So Neeb just has to hold on right here, and that's what he's starting to do. The Disruptors still around. It's kind of starting to feel like it's maybe only Disruptors, although the units went out on the top side of the fight, and that will be enough for Neeb to take game number 5, the reverse sweep of HeroMarine in this series. GG. Neeb 3, HeroMarine 2. And just like that, Neeb is going to be able to take this ESL Open Cup. $100, 10 ESL Pro Tour points. That's exactly what he signed up to play. You know, that's exactly what he signed up for. HeroMarine will leave another finals, has yet to not make a finals for these events. And 5 ESL Pro Tour points still adding to his collection. Definitely going to be a high seed in some of the upcoming events with all of that.